trying to get some heavy stuff up in front of the camera so it won't move on me. Now we will scooch it back. Maybe I won't break anything. Okay. There we go. So I'm just going to make some feather dangles for this new... I'm just going to make some feather dangles this evening for this new dream catcher. And hi Denise. And since I was feeling better, I thought, well, I might as well just go on and say howdy. Because I'm feeling better, and I'm sure that they would enjoy catching up. I was actually thinking about coming on earlier. We had more storms roll through the area. This has been the stormiest place the last few weeks. So, I would have been on earlier, but we had storms again. So, it's just been a very stormy place here lately. Let's see. So, what I'm going to do is actually going to put the beads on and then create a dangle for the feather to be glued to. That way I'm not fighting everything all at once. And I've got leather and everything in my little bead box, so it's going to take me a minute to find everything I need. I hear a helicopter. Which is never a good sign when you live in a small community that only flies out emergencies. Hope nobody's having a rough night. Bless their heart. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is use one of these little wood beads. And this is going to be in addition to the one that I've been working on this week. Still working on it. These things don't make themselves, and if I'm puny, then I normally try to take more time so that when they are made, you can tell that somebody cared and took time. And I want to use some of these marbled ones because I want to hook on at the bottom some marbled beading. So I probably should have used StreamYard, but I was having such an issue with my internet connection, I thought, pooey. I will simply use YouTube on its own. So we may not have the best service, but that's okay. Now I don't want these to be all alike. I want them to be different because each of these are going to end up signifying something for the lady that is getting this. So every bead will mean something different for her, and it will be her job to assign that meaning to the bead and make it her own. So she will have homework as soon as she gets this. I'm sending her homework. Good evening, April. I haven't seen Annette in a while. Has anybody seen Annette? I got to worrying about her the other day because we hadn't seen her in a little bit. I always worry about you if I don't see you. I know you know if you don't see me, I'm sick, so that made me wonder if she was sick. So I need to tie this up like this. So what I'm doing is just tying a string around the base of this bigger bead so that the others will fall and land on top of it. And then I can push the feather through the bead cap at the bottom. And they will all pile on top of each other like this. And then the feather will stick out of here. So that's basically what I'm doing. I'm also going to incorporate some gems into this. Boy, it's been a week, y'all. I'm just now starting to get my laundry back under control in my house. Trying to get it cleaned up. Trying to get back on task as far as everything that needs to be done for the sale coming up for Dave. And it's just been like, wow. I got took out at the most inopportune time. I'm going to put a little bead of glue around the top of that little knot right there. Dried glue on me. And then I'm going to push that down, those buffalo ones down over the knot and attach them. And so that is going to be what the bead hangs from, what it looks like. Get the glue off of it, obviously. So I want to put in some color because I don't want it to be a no color issue. So I am putting in some color. And I'm just going to tie it off for the moment so that the beads can't slip while I put in the feather. Now I am using duck feathers on this one. I'm going to use a mixture of feathers, but I'm using duck feathers and white feathers. So I've got some white feathers, which I'm going to be layering with some of my duck feathers. If I can figure out how he sealed this bag. Ah, there we go. I really like the coloration of these feathers. They add a punch of color. And the big thing for me is they're real. I want you to know I put real things. I might use some accent feathers that are just like processed to be white, but then I'll always layer them with something else. I always try to put real, authentic items on the dream catchers because that's what I would want if you were making one for me. So I try to do what I would want you to do if you were making one for me. And I always try to show the prettiest sides of the feathers. Now these will also get a little bit of a wrap so that they pop. So there's going to be the first dangle that goes on. Now I have to do 3 to 5 of these depending on how, maybe more, depending on how much I think that, I think that the dream catcher needs. And then I go from there. Of course, I'm going to be zhuzhing up the dream catcher. It's behind me over here hanging on the wall. I'm going to be zhuzhing it up later. But for now, I'm just trying to get through the things I need to get through. Basically, to get it put together. I'm trying to remember where I put my jute. That is one thing that always tends to run away from me in this house, is jute. I don't know why. But it likes to run away and it likes to end up in David's world. So maybe he swapped out to do something in the building. He may have. We will not get mad. As you can see, I'm still very swollen. I'm still very swollen and I'm still very puffy, and my color is not the greatest yet, but it's coming back. Now we had to switch lighting in this kitchen. We had to switch the type of bulb we were using, and I'm not a fan of the new bulbs, but we had to switch, and all they had were LED lights at our hardware store, and I'm not a fan of LED. I mean, I don't mind them in a workshop, but obviously they don't always give the best color when you're trying to do something like this, so I probably look more washed out than normal. My color is actually trying to come back, and today was the first morning I woke up and felt like myself. But I tell you, the key to this right now is I go to bed extremely early, and I sleep as long as my body tells me to sleep. And during the day when my body says no, I respect it and I stop whatever it tells me not to do. I've been very, very aware of my body this time. Gypsy, that's how I was for almost 2 weeks after that attack. It was the most uncomfortable, and my head felt swollen. It felt like I had hit my head on something and had a concussion, and it was just the swelling. I had so much swelling. So there's the wrap beads right there. To get the glue off. But honest to Pete, it felt like I had a concussion, and I was just so swollen. My doctor was like, "You're just so swollen," and it was not a fun event for me at all. I did not want to experience any of what I experienced the last 2 weeks. It was not pleasant. I'm going to see if I can get this clear thread to bead a specific bead that I want, and if I can't, then I'll figure another way to get it on there. I am about blind tonight, so this might not go well. I have to cut that little twig off. But I've still got some muscles that are wanting to cramp, so I have to be super careful. Especially when I am attempting to like pick laundry baskets up or clean the house or sweep. If I get bent over in a certain way and get my muscles to pulling, I'm stuck, and I have to deal with basically another flare, and it's like, stop. You know, it's like I've been telling my body, chill out. And it just can't. It won't. So I've had a lot of problems with that since the flare. And unfortunately, they have found out through the blood work, not all of it's back yet, but some of it is. They found out through the blood work that is back that the bad bacteria did take over my guts after the last go-around of antibiotics. And so basically the fluid in my body after the attack just, grabbed that bad bacteria and said, here, let me introduce you to the rest of her body. And so it just spread it all over my body. And so what I've been dealing with is a massive infection. That was super scary. I mean, it was just a super scary event. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. And we're going to try to stay aware so that this does not happen again, because with RSD, once your body learns a trick, it likes to repeat it, even if it's one that you don't want it to repeat. So I have to stay on top of my body and be like, absolutely not, you stop that crap, boy. It doesn't always listen to me, but when it does, when we can create that working relationship, it's helpful. So I've started these 3 beads, and what I'm going to do is, just let that cut so I can pick it back up. I'm going to then make it look like a braid, like I'm braiding on the feathers that I'm going to put on down there. So I know one of my next things that I'm going to do, I've got to do the messenger bag, which I've got everything on the way for that. And then I've got to do, yes, my armpits were so, oh my gosh. Yes. Okay, and especially since I had all that fluid issue and that sac ruptured, now my body doesn't know where to store the handy dandy fluid. And so it's been trying to put it in my breast. And it's made my lymphs, I have to wake up and do a lymph massage. Like I start at my head and I go down, and like all the way down. I've started to do a lymph massage every morning now because my body is just wickedly upset with me. It's just the only way you can say it. And it is mad and grumpy. And once, I think it was 3 days of the medicine to help with the bacteria, that has reduced a lot. And I'm sleeping better, and my neck doesn't feel as tight, and blood pressure is staying where it should be. But yes, that hurts. I would recommend you go and immediately research lymphatic massage, self-massage. David will help with my legs and stuff if he's home and can. It's just easier for me to do my upper body myself. But I'm here to tell you, that hurts. If people, it feels like your milk coming in, doesn't it? It feels, and listen, I don't need any memories of that. That was 20 years ago. So, so I don't need any memories of that. It can go on. Time has passed. Leave me be. But that's exactly what my body did too. It was the most painful experience. And like I would wake up, and all my life, me and Haley have always had our secret phrase of RBP, which means random boob pain. You know how women, you have random boob pains. And you try to keep on top of them if you have random boob pains, because random boob pains could mean something else. So we created a little way that we could talk about our random boob pains without the guys being totally embarrassed. So we would just be like RBP. And she called and was video chatting me and her dad and was asking me how I was doing and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, the RBPs are bad. And she's like, really? At your age? And I'm like, listen, girl, these things have a mind of their own. And my husband is like, Dave is like, RBP, and I'm like, random boob pain. He's like, I don't speak your language. And I just thought that was hilarious. I just thought that was freaking hilarious. But he doesn't speak our language. We speak a very strange language, bless our hearts. We're not quite right. But so I've been very open about that experience as a woman for a long time, about the random nerve pain that you get in your breast. It's not fun at all. And so my daughter was surprised that I was still experiencing these, even with, a flare. She was like, really, Mom? And I'm like, really, child. Really, child. So that was probably one of the most uncomfortable things, was the lymph, and knowing that as soon as I laid her altered position or asked the fluid to move forcefully, I was going to have a lot of breast pain. So yes, there with you. That hurt. It was not fun. Kind of scary there for a little bit, actually, because I had not had any pains like that in my breast since my milk had come in with Lane. And that was 23 years ago, y'all. So I was a little worried. I was like, okay, and had I not just recently had all that mammogram and testing, I probably would have been much more concerned. But I went into my doctor, and he's like, it's your lymph system. Anytime you don't fish off water or you hold too much water, he's like, this is what happens. He didn't think there was anything super wrong with me, so he took like as many vials of blood as he legally could for me that day. He apologized 3 times. And he was like, I've just got to check a little bit of everything. And I was like, that's fine. Go right for it, bud. And so I'll have the rest of that back Monday, most likely. But yes, that is one of the most horrible pains. And because it comes out of nowhere, it's something that your body and your mind do not anticipate. And then boom. And you're like, really? I had children how many decades ago? This is not fair. So, but it kind of scares you too, because you're like, in your head's going, this is a warning sign of something way worse. This means something horribly worse. And so that's where my brain always goes, and I have to calm myself down, and my poor doctor has to be like, your body has a bad relationship with fluid, and this is just another bad habit that it has with fluid, and he has to really calm me down. So I appreciate my doctor. He's a sweet guy. He tries really, really hard to learn everything he can about my disorder. And he listens to me because he knows I'm the expert on it, because I'm the one living it. So he doesn't really give me a lot of grief when it comes to me explaining to him that, hey, you're not getting my issues. You're not understanding what I'm trying to say. He doesn't give me any grief. He's just kind of like, okay, tell me what I need to do. Really great guy. So the next thing I'm going to do is kind of wrap this burgundy around these 3 drop beads that I wrapped. And thank goodness my hands are working today. I couldn't brush my hair the other day, and I was mad as no way hen. Couldn't brush my hair, couldn't get it in a ponytail, could not do anything. David tried, but me and ponytails, yeah. And so I'm really glad to have my hands back and functioning on my orders, because those few days there that they were not really ticked me off. But I still struggle a little bit with some of the really finer hand movements. So I'm still not quite out of the woods. I still have moments where I'm like, oh shucks, that did not go right. But that's okay. I'm getting there. Now after I get this done, I'll have to take a dryer and a little X-Acto knife. And what I'll have to do is come around and blow dry this until it gets really, really hot. And then take off all the stringy strings. Because right now I need to layer it on to hold this little turd where I want it to stay. And then I can worry about cleaning it off and decluttering it in a minute. It's more important to me that it stays where I put it for the moment, so that it will dry and hang the way I want it to hang. Okay, so you see the rustic colors I'm trying to get into, and that big string of glue hanging right in your face? These are the rustic colors I'm trying to get into. So this is going to be the middle drop, the longest drop. And so what I want to do is put this piece of moss agate in there. Moss agate is just kind of like one of those stones, those gems that helps us calm down, not get overly excited, take things in stride. It's a really good, I have one that a friend gave me that I wear as a necklace, and it's just a really good gemstone just to kind of chill somebody out, calm them down, and kind of make the day go a little bit more pleasant. Not a lot of people, if you don't look into what the gemstones do or what they promote, then it can be kind of scary to understand how to use them, but they're not scary to use at all. They're not going to do anything horribly bad. They're pretty much full of positive energy, and if you go back in, oh gosh, I can't remember if it's in Exodus or my Bible brain's not working tonight, but you know, even God told them when he was talking about the armor of the Lord to line it with 12 gemstones, and then the sacred places to line them with 12 gemstones. And so gemstones were used a lot in the Bible. So people that try to be all witchy with gemstones, I'm like, no, they kind of, you know, the Lord made them, and he made them for a reason, and y'all don't get to take that and turn it into something bad. So I just don't let him take it and turn it into something bad for me. But most of the time, most people that are aware of gemstones and why they were created, how they were created, they actually are very open to talk about, you know, religion and, you know, personal relationships with, you know, whatever religion you tend to follow or foster. And having an open mind is not a bad thing. Having an open mind is a good thing. Even if it's not the religion that I choose. Even if it's not the religion that I would choose to follow. As long as we have people holding themselves accountable to a higher power, that is always a positive. It's always a positive because that creates accountability of self. And when we hold ourselves accountable, society doesn't have to do it for us. And when society doesn't have to do it for us, then we have more cohesive societies that are more conducive to, you know, families and being kind and having a more, a less swingy moral compass, let's say. So you don't have to anticipate some of the huge upsets we've had like the last few years. So yeah, it's a natural thing. And you know, he gave them all a purpose, and in the Bible he tells them to use them in the sacred places because they have purpose. We all know that they generate electricity. you know, basically everything the Lord made generate electricity. Even your body generates electricity. They don't want to talk about it. There's, you know, wordy words that float around in society that they don't want you to really explore, such as the human biofield and piezoelectricity. I have to say, I can't say that right. But they don't want you to know about these things or to research them, because then you might understand just how much of a miracle your body is. And so I always get tickled when you watch websites really start giving people a problem when they start saying these words. And I'm like, why would you choose to not allow people to educate themselves? And but if you know, if you start looking into that, you know, you find out probably way more than you want to find out. But what you do find out is very useful in living your life and maintaining your body. And my body seems to have gone off the rails lately, but I honestly believe is trying to fix some stuff that's been going bad for a few years. And I get the feeling that I'm under like a massive renovation project. And now don't get me wrong, I'm okay with it. You know, it can be over any time it wants to be over. But I feel like I am under a mass renovation project in my body. And so I'm really excited to kind of see where my body goes in the next year or two, because I'm trying some very different options and some more homeopathic options. And I seem to, like, my body, the things that have been wrong, that have just been kind of hanging out being wrong, are like, okay, peace, yeah, we'll go. And so that sac ruptured under my arm. All this fluid, you know, it's now my body's dealing with that, learning how to deal with this fluid all over again. Things that needed to have occurred years ago are finally starting to happen, but only when I started looking into more homeopathic medicinal routes. And so I found that very interesting, because, you know, my body was not functioning well, and I had just found a balance, but it wasn't necessarily a good balance. And now, since this thing is ruptured, it's trying to find a new balance, and I'm just hoping that it finds a healthier balance. So that's my hope, is that wherever we're going, it's going in a healthier way. And I may not get there. It you know, just may not be for me to be healthy again. You know, and I have to at some point sit down and say, well, is it God's plan for me? And if it is, I don't get to dictate that. I just have to accept it. And I think it's taken me a number of years of being ill to say, okay, if that's the plan, that's the plan. Just, you know, let me know if it's the plan. So I've gotten into a much more, I don't know, easygoing perspective about my health and my expectations for my health, and what I think is going on with my health. And so I think I'm experiencing what I'm supposed to be experiencing, but I don't know what the end of the road will be. I just hope I, you know, have quite a bit more road to go. You know, I want to spend time with my grandbaby and stuff, but, you know, I also sit here and it's not my decision. So I have to kind of make peace with it. So I think that really irks my family sometimes, that I'm just kind of talk about it so openly, and, you know, it's not that I don't have questions, concerns, or even fears about, you know, all of that. But the thing is that my fears are very much so abated by my trust in God. So I don't think I should have many fears about the process of going home. That's just kind of my perspective on that. I don't think it's anything I can worry about, should worry about, and it's productive to worry about. So I just choose not to. And some people look at me and can't understand that. And that's okay. But that's just, I don't know, maybe I'm just a little laid back more so than most people. I just don't really, I've lost so many friends at odd times, but then later in life I've been like, oh, I get it now. And so, you know, if that's what my passing is supposed to do as well, and you know, I've seen enough of it to understand there's a bigger book being written, and I don't need to worry about my chapter so much. So we need to worry about the ending. But yeah, a lot of people get really, really, really hung up on that, and I feel really sad for them because it's not a fun thing to be hung up on. Now I have just wrapped this in silver, just a hodgepodge wrapping, nothing particular, just swirlies and whatever. I felt good caging that, and I'm actually going to probably either affix it to the base or affix it into this dangle. Not quite sure yet. I really like this dangle that I've got going on, so we may try it for a minute. I am loving this thread that I got. I really questioned myself about getting a color. I really did, because I was like, oh, you know, I try to keep everything au naturel. And even at one point used deer sinew twine that was made, and that was really expensive, so I stopped doing that. But I thought, it'll look cheesy if I change. But these are actually waxed twine. And so they're made very naturally. And the more I work with it, the more I like it. And I like the color, I like the pop, and I like how easy it is to get it to kind of roll with. This has got a really, really easy wrap potential. It is just so easy to flex and bend, and it is just so kind to whatever you want it to do. It's like, cool beans, okay, I'll do that. It's really easy to wrap and use. And so I have been really, really, really tickled with it. And I try to only glue one side when I'm doing stuff like this, but inevitably there'll come a time where I'll see something I have to tack it like across the top here. But I'm really loving this twine, and I'm really loving the dragonfly wing that I've already got done in this twine, in this color. It is beautiful, so I've already decided, yes, I will order more. So when I get ready to do another order, I will most definitely be ordering more of this rusty copper maroon color. I really have fallen in love with it. It's very pretty. I'm tickled with it. Oh, thank you, Magenta. Well, thank you for stopping by. I just appreciate you jumping in and saying howdy. Oh, I shouldn't be a hero. I shouldn't be a hero. I am, on a good day, a turd. You can ask my husband about that. And I do get upset and fussy about my health, and I get mad because I was such a glorified Amazon doing such amazing things for women, you know, at one point in my life. And now, you know, I have days where it's hard to wipe my own hind end. Let's just be honest about it. And I do get frustrated, and I'm not always, you know, super kind about it and super okay with it. I have to kind of grieve it and mourn it, and really go through a process with it to be okay. I mean, it's a process. Toads for everybody. That made me laugh. Thank you so much. Oh, that's funny. You know, but I do. It's a process. I've learned that life is a process, and you just sometimes you have to mourn things, and sometimes, you know, some days you got to be a turd, and some days you got to be a nice person, and I try to balance that out. You know, I try to be nice most of the time, and then if I have to be a turd one day, I try to, you know, be kind to myself and say, well, listen, you know, you were really good for how long? So I don't get super mad at myself, but, you know, life is a balance. That's the best way I can describe it. And Some days I don't balance well, and that's okay. But I am just a normal person. I was given a predominantly normal life, and somehow along the way, this health issue happened to me and changed everything. And some things I really miss. I miss going hunting and ginsenging with Dave. I miss being able to just take out and take a weekend trip and not have to prepare for disaster if my body decides to go crazy. Um, I miss those freedoms that I used to have to go hiking, fishing, hunting. I don't have those freedoms anymore. I can't do those things anymore without someone being super careful and monitoring me. Um, I just want to go visit my mom and granny, and have been so sick that I can't even get myself there and back. But even if I got there, I would be so tired and not in a place where I want my mother to see me. So I've not been able to go and see my mother and my granny. And that's like first on my list. The first day that I feel good, I've got to go see mom and granny. There's the word. Turd, turd, instead of bird, turd, 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 turd. So I struggle. I struggle with lots of things at lots of times. And if anybody gets online and they say they don't struggle, they're lying to you, because life's a struggle. Everybody struggles. So I have days where I'm like, I am not conducive to society, and I know I don't need to get online. And I have days where I have more grace for people that don't seem to understand me and don't seem to enjoy what I have to add to the conversations online. It's just a day by day. I try to never be an absolute, horrible person. But there are times where you need to sometimes speak your mind and say your piece. And I have those days, and I follow what I feel led to do, and and I got a sharp tongue on me. So if I do get hateful, it will get painful. So I try not to get hateful, but it's inevitable. Sometimes it's going to happen. We all can't be on our best behavior 24/7. So I think it would just be great if we would start seeing society have expectations about themselves again. Just the expectation of, oh, I'm going into public, I need to behave, I need to present myself in this manner, I need to take extra caution with this topic, I need to take extra time to show kindness to this group of people that I struggle with. And we don't see that anymore. We see everybody wanting everyone to kowtow to their frame of mind and their mode of thinking and operating, but nobody wants to put the burden on themselves. And so we've become a society that has no social burden except for ego. And that is so dangerous. Ego is such a little turd. Ego is one of the most dangerous things, because it can talk you into almost anything and ruin everything before you even have time to realize how to stop. And it's just scary that people, welcome ego the way they welcome it these days. It just freaks me out. Okay, so I've got a wrapped moss agate in wire and burgundy cord, and I've got a white feather and a duck feather. Turn those around. There we go. When I hang this, I'll have to make sure it hangs the right way. So inevitably there will be glue used. So I have a duck feather and a white feather behind it for base, and I have a moss agate with buffalo horn beads and 3 labradorite spacers. Did I say that right? So, Daniel, where you been? I worry about Daniel when we don't see him for a while. I have to go on Instagram and check on him, make sure he's okay. I've been sick though, so I've not checked on many people lately. I've been too peaky and puny. I'm sorry. But yeah, I was worried about Annette today and then Daniel, and there's been a few that we haven't seen in a while. You've been hiding? Okay. Sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it is. So I gave that just a little piece of glue to hang that, to hold that there. So that's going to be this. I've got a fan on me, so it's twirling in the fan. But that's going to be basically how it hangs right there. And this will be the center dangle. And it will attach right at the bottom, so it'll be a full dangle. You won't see the cord. Hey, have you been having a lot of electric problems too? Like your electric just zapping and going off and on at any time of the day? Okay, I was going to ask how are you and Amy. I just didn't want to like blurb it out there unless I could. We've been having a lot of electricity issues up here, and it's like we never have electricity issues. Why are we having electricity issues? I get really irritated when things happen, and I don't know why. Because I'm like, I need a reason. Like, I need a logical reason as to why this is occurring. Somebody needs to tell me now. And my husband gets really irritated with me because I get really demanding. But I want to know what's going on. And, boy, that storm that we had go through the other day was a doozy, wasn't it? That was a humdinger. That was one of the worst ones we had in a while. Literally a half mile up the road from my house, it took out almost a whole road. Just straight line winds just absolutely tore into the place and just took it out. And one of the little ladies that sits with my great aunt down at the farm, on the other side of the farm, it tore her roof off her laundry room, took out her outbuilding, and then smashed her car. Just like, hey, wait, I've got one more thing to do. Smashed her car. I felt so bad for her. Now, I'm putting this on beaded, poundage line. So this should not break. So that's my hope that it doesn't break. Because it's on very strong beaded line that's been tested for poundage. So it shouldn't break. But if it does break, I keep in contact with everyone that buys something from me, and I will walk her through the repair if that does occur. But I've not had anything break so far. So I'm really particular about how I make things. If y'all haven't figured that one out yet. Really particular about how I make things. So I try to make them last because I don't want to buy something that's not going to last. I don't want to buy something that I can't keep for quite a long while. I'm picky. And I want y'all to be picky too. I mean, if you're putting money on something, you should be picky. You should be very picky. David is currently, well, David is, I say David is, he had me start some skulls to clean this evening. So he's got some more skulls working, and he's doing some of the smaller detail stuff to get prepared for the 127 sale, because he's working 6 days a week, and next week he's got to work 12-hour shifts. Bless the man's heart. And so he is just literally trying to hang on and get through these work hours so that he can get to this sale and have a few days off to rest and recuperate and maybe recharge his battery just a little bit, because he's just been working himself to death. They've had a lot of turnover at the factory, and it's just been a super stressful event for everybody. And so they don't have a lot of senior staff left, and it's been stressful for the guys that are there trying to get the orders done and stuff, and nobody seems to appreciate the old guys that hang on and just try to work. But yeah, he's been having a rough few weeks, and bless his heart, had to get out and mow the yard in this heat, and I felt so bad for him. But Jonah offered to come mow it, but there's so many hornets building right now, he did not want Jonah to get stung. And so he said, no, I'll just do it. And then he said, I'll chase them all off. And he's like, then if they don't give me much problem, I'll let him come and weed eat in just a few spots around the house. But I don't want him, he doesn't want him to get away from the house and get stung or bit or anything. So he's just really tired right now. And if he's home, he's resting. Look at the glue. I show you the pretty glue too. Y'all know I don't skimp on glue. So that's how that will then go in the middle. And then it will have, I'm going to make another one to match this on the other side. So we're getting there. And just when it comes down to the pretties, I enjoy making the pretties. It's like the funnest part of the process for me. But it takes the most time because I have to really sit and think about what I want on, what it represents, and how I'm going to apply it to what this person needs. So it gets really stressful there when I start doing the pretties because they do have a purpose behind them, and so I do want purpose to show. I don't want them to just be pretty. I want the purpose to show. So I go through a lot of thought, and I've been thinking, the whole time I was sick, I was thinking about these dangles and the colors to use, what the colors mean. I wanted a lot of native stuff in here, more just because of the way I was raised. I know the protection applied with the native stuff, and I know the meaning behind it, so it makes me feel that it does its job better as a dream catcher. And so I try to think about those things before I make them, to make sure that I am making, what the customer does need. So obviously if they're having bad dreams, they need something that's going to have a purpose, and they're going to know what the purpose is. So I think David is wanting to come and say howdy tomorrow if he has the energy at all, and showing a couple more skulls and just checking in. He really was so proud of himself for doing so well on his own last week when I was sick, and I was tickled with him too. I thought he did such a great job. So I think he's wanting to pop back on and say hi and just kind of test his skills and learn a little bit more about StreamYard. I still have so much to learn about StreamYard too, y'all. I'm lazy when it comes to learning about that. I'm sorry. He's going to learn more about how to do that, how to open up the floor for people to come in and also speak to him. And so he's really getting onto this. He's learned a lot more about Etsy and the process of posting stuff. So he's doing really good. Oh, your phone. They put up a bunch of new towers up here, and it screwed everything up. I'm just going to tell you, Daniel. What's going on between you and church? Now, see, I've not checked on church since I had my flare. What's going on with church? Because the last about month, I've kind of been out of it with my health flares and stuff. I mean, I've just not been well. So I don't really know what's going on with him. You're going to have to message me on Insta, Daniel, and tell me what's going on. Get me caught up. Because I legit have been MIA for a few weeks now. I am really excited, though, because JJ Lawhorn's got a new album coming out soon. I adore JJ, too. I actually probably like JJ's voice more than I like Ryan's voice. Shh, don't tell anybody. But JJ is just a country man. He's just a country boy. And he's very sweet. His girlfriend, Kelsey, is a sweetheart. And they're just very kind people. Matter of fact, I've got to get that quilt done at the quilters. I made Juniper Jane her first big girl quilt because I made her a baby quilt. It had chickens all over it because her mama's a chicken freak. So I made her first big girl quilt, and I've got to get it. It's at the quilters, and she's just been waiting on me to tell her I've got the money to get it done and to go. So I've got to get that done. And I've been going through old quilt tops in my cedar chest. So may have other stuff pop up as well soon. We'll see. We'll see what I find. yeah, I've been behind too, just with my health. And, you know, he's just, when I'm sick, he's just not a priority. And I'm sure he understands that. I mean, if he needed me, he could yell at me, but, you know, he's been doing so well on his own. I've not really had any communication in so long. He blasts my channel every once in a while, which I find very sweet, um, but like, when I'm sick, it's, sorry, it's all about me. I've got to get me mended, you know. But, but I've just not been able to keep up a lot, and I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of over the whole Nicole Arbor drama thing. I feel bad for him because, I mean, you know, we all knew the woman was Satan. We all hoped she wasn't, but we all kind of knew she was. And yeah, the woman is causing him grief, but women like that only walk into your life when you allow them to. And so this is a great educational experience for young men to understand that not all women that you meet are going to be of the quality that they need to be in your life. And so I hope that the younger Creek Squad boys are paying attention and realizing that, yeah, this sucks and it's not fair and we hate to see Ryan go through this, but he also brought a lot of it upon himself, and you have to take ownership of that. If young men will look at that and go, oh yeah, look for the warning signs, then, well, you know, it'll help a whole lot of young men. And I wish he would kind of take an educational look at it and be like, yo, these are the red flags I should have seen, y'all. These are things that should have indicated there were going to be potential issues. And throw some bones to those younger Creek Squad members that might ought to know, you know, how dangerous dating can be in this world, especially if you're, you know, trying to be an internet star. It's dangerous. And at the end of the day, when you make a decision to add someone into your life, you've made a decision to add whatever they bring, good or bad, and you have to take ownership over that. You know, I had to take ownership over what my ex-husband caused for me. And let me tell you what, I'm not proud of that. That's the worst time frame in my entire life, but I have to take ownership over it because it was my decision to bring them into my world. My own stupid decision. So I have to kind of go, yeah, I did that. I caused myself all that pain and grief. Boy, I'm stupid. But it helped educate a lot of people that were witnessing what I was going through. And I always, if I screw up, please use it and learn from it. And, you know, so it's not a screw up completely in vain. You know, please learn from it. I will not be hurt at all. As long as you learn from it, I will not be hurt at all. Even if you have to say, well, she was stupid. Yeah, go ahead. Just learn from it. I'm trying to clean up my workspace a little bit. Okay, so now on these two dangles that are going to be side by side, or on the sides, I think I'm going to try to add just little pieces of moss agate, just these little pieces. I have one really pretty one. This one's really pretty. I might add that. I thought he didn't want people on his property. Is it something that just, like, you need to enter your information? Because you can call me and talk me through it, and I can enter your information. Is there something, in some way I can help you? I mean, since you're just, like, right down the hill from me, I'm totally there to help you if I can. If that's a possibility, please let me know, and I will help you do that. Because I wouldn't want you to miss this opportunity either. You just need to let me know if it's something I can help you do. Well, you know, this is the ADHD cycle, and I don't. I mean, it sounds like a great idea, but at the same time, the security issues alone freak me out, so it may not be something that he follows through with. And if I were a fan looking at something like that, I'd just probably kind of sit on it emotionally and wait to see if it's something that he's actually going to be able to come through with or not, because that seems like a security nightmare, especially with all the problems he had with security last year. I would not think that he would be ready to jump right back to those issues. Or if he is, he better be doing it with a very heavy security mindset. Well, I mean, I won't make the list either because I don't fawn and gasp and follow his every move. But he knows that I am here for him if he needs me. But um, that is the fame game, and unfortunately, it's even if you are a good person and have a good heart, it does affect you in some ways. And start thinking that, oh, somebody that spends 12 hours a day listening to my music or following me on Instagram is a better fan than somebody that doesn't have access to these things. That is just one of those blind mindsets that they get into, and not understanding that, quantity is not quality, and they better be looking for quality, because we've seen what quantity causes him. It causes him a lot of problems, causes him a lot of people trying to break into his home, and it causes him a lot of stress and security issues. So I would hope that he would think through that a little bit more. Well, we all know here we're all Creek Squad, we're all family, and that doesn't mean we can't talk about the issues that we see happen and occur. The only way to improve um, our group is to acknowledge the pitfalls that we have seen happen. And I just hope he doesn't get to where he thinks like he has to have he's never been one that required everybody's attention. Like he doesn't mind putting his life out there, but he's not really he's not fed off of that, and I don't want him to become that person. And so I really hope he doesn't become that person. But he has been fueling himself a lot with this whole Elvis issue, and it's great to think that you learn things and acquired talents because of listening to old artists, and you get to take things that they taught you and share them with your fans and kind of make them your own, and that's great. I mean, that's absolutely great. That is amazing, and something that I'm sure every artist wishes they could do. But at the same time, I kind of look and go, you do know that you're not them. You do know that you have to make your own path, and you have to, you're not them. Even if you have a lot in common, you're not them. And I've tried to get him several times to look into regression therapy and explore stuff like that. Not because I want him to think he is somebody else, but I want him to understand that there may be another reason why he has bonded with this music and that artist and these emotions and these feelings so heavily. And that if he could go into some counseling or some regression therapy, he might understand more why that seems to have been a large part of his life. So I got through a very difficult time in my teenage years, and my family was struggling with a lot on a lot of different ways, and I got through a lot by sneaking in. I was not allowed to listen to secular music. If my radio was not on a bluegrass or gospel channel, I would get into trouble. But I loved rock music, and I loved 80s rock music, and I got through a lot of trauma in my teenage years just listening to Queen. I set this in a little basket. Thank you. I got through a lot of trauma just listening to Queen music because it was so fantastical. It just kind of took your head, your mind to a different place. And now that they've done psychological testing, they prove that music creates space for pain so that you can process the pain and then move on. So music is a great it's a great way to get into somebody who's going through a trauma or PTSD stint and get them to acknowledge that pain, compost that pain, put it into a linear format to understand it and get closure and to move on. And that's what songs and music do. And so now I understand why music was so helpful. So, but I wish I could get him to explore different avenues. Well, no, you don't want nothing from him, but you know, you would like the ability to, if given the opportunity to do something like that, you would like the ability to do it. So, it seems like for me that when it's always time for me to have an opportunity, something always screws up. And it's like, man, it's like, stop screwing up. But that is, it seems to be a lot in life that I have. I put this in just to a little basket, and I'm just going to affix that to the dream catcher somewhere. I'm going to be taking these off and dangling them on there as well. I've got about 4 or 5 little beads that are going to be dangled. And I'm thinking about incorporating some of these big mamba jambas somehow. I just haven't quite figured out what to do with them yet. But I will, because they're screaming that they want to be on this one. So they will be on this one. I'm trying to clean up my mess as I go. My kitchen table looks like it's about to take flight. Daniel, yeah, that's the whole reason that I got onto YouTube. Was my first video was I was concerned with what I saw and how he was reacting to the Katie Noel drama. I was really afraid that he was going to do something harmful as well. And so I made that video to try to explain to him what he was feeling, why he was feeling it, and what had occurred, and if he could take a few steps back, what everyone else was seeing potentially. And I think it helped him because he told me it did, but I also know that because of his creative mindset and the ADHD, which he openly talks about, he cycles, he goes through a very cyclical chain of events month to month, emotionally and mentally, and with his interest and application of his energy. And some months he does better than others, and other months he's off the wall. His creativity always helps stifle the drama in life. So whenever he's being creative, I'm like, that's great, because normally if his creative outlet is being maintained, then life does not become his creative outlet, which that's when it gets scary. So he normally does really well when he's being creative, and he's being super creative here lately. So maybe he's just trying to be super creative, and he hasn't thought of all the ways that this might not be a great thing. Maybe he will kind of figure that out and get his head back down from the clouds here soon, I hope. But, I mean, I appreciate the young boy, the young man, and everything that he does, and I want the best for him. But it doesn't also bother me to go, that's not going to work. And because then he is a young man, and sometimes he does need an older perspective to kind of go, no, that's not how we do that. And he doesn't get a lot of feedback that contradicts him anymore, because he does have such status and stature in the world. And that's a very bad thing. When people lose the ability to go, no, that's not cool, dude, then it's not a good thing to be somebody that people are scared to correct, especially when you have personal relationships with them. You've got to be able to look at somebody and say, I did not appreciate that, and mean it to the point where you don't fear the repercussion. The repercussion is the friendship, or loss of friendship potentially. It's not, that they've dangled money or trucks or fame in front of your face. And so I really hope that he has an authentic group of guys around him. I think for the most part he does. But I also know that the more famous he gets, the less likely people will be to question his motive, question him, question his behavior and why he does certain things. And so I don't want him to get to the place where he refuses to be questioned. Because when you refuse to be questioned, that's when you refuse to grow and you refuse to be accountable. So I watch him for that. And I hope I never see that from him. It will break my heart. But I do watch him for it. So just so y'all know, I do watch him for it. But it would break my heart to see him go through something like that. It really, really would. So I want the best for the boy. He reminds me so much of my own son. It was hard for a mother to see him hurting when he went through that Katie Noel stuff. And I was amazed when he gave me feedback. And he actually cared. Like, he actually cared that somebody had taken time to care for him. That made me feel that, okay, he's still got his country boy heart. So he's still doing well. And I think that he's done better with Bethany and has maintained his roots better. But, there has been, with all this world health drama and virus drama, and there's been a lot of ability for people to isolate, and isolation is not always healthy. And I wonder sometimes, with the loss of his touring last year due to Nicole and the self-isolation that had to occur because of the court cases, I wonder if maybe he has just gotten into a place where he is grasping at straws, trying to create new ideas, because he is very much unhappy with the way that last year and the touring went. Oh yeah. The best opportunities that you will ever be handed in life will come with a massive screw up. It's like the universe has got to test us all. I don't appreciate that either. I will stand outside and talk to the moon and be like, screw you, bud. That was not necessary. My husband has always thought I was crazy that way, but I do it. When I get mad at the universe, I talk to the universe. And I'm like, screw you, buddy, that was not necessary. We are no longer friends. I make a joke about it, but sometimes I really have to go through the motions and be angry and get it out of my system. So I understand. I get that. But, he's growing up, and I remember when I was 30, I just got out of the wilderness camp days and had just had my first massive couple of surgeries and was changing to go into adult probation and parole. And life and opportunities was still such a new thing. And, gaining authority and power was still such a new challenge. And so I try to think back to my time at that age and realize how much of a goober I still was, and try to not hold his feet to the flames too awful much. So if I have an issue with him, I don't care a bit to say it. And I really want for him the best life possible. I really want the best life possible for him. And sometimes I wonder, with the fame and stuff, if it's just not possible. Let's let it go up a little more. If it's just not possible that anyone that has that much fame is just going to have all the hiccups and issues and trauma, which terrifies me for him, if that is kind of what he is going to be looking at for the remainder of his days. That just really kind of does worry me for him. But at the same time, we all choose our road, and that's the road he chose. So at the end of the day, I just have to realized that's his road, and he's on it, and that's where he wanted to be, and so that's where he is. But I will always, I mean, the few times that I have got to share ideas and just do a little bit of a conversation with him, I do really care for the young man. He is very, very endearing and sweet, and is exactly who he says he is. He's not different at all when you speak to him, so I have a lot of respect for him. And because I have a lot of respect for him, I will always tell him my perspective on things, should I feel that he needs to hear it. Doesn't mean he has to pay attention to it, but I tell him. And I think we need more people in the world like that. More people that, if they have an issue, they will just kind of raise their hand and go, well, you need to hear this from me. Okay, so this one's laying funky, but here's the thing. When I get the rest of this wrapped, this will pick up like this, and it will have multiple other limbs around this. So here is the dangles. I really love these. They're so extra. I'm loving how extra this is turning out. It's making me happy. I probably will glue that right there so it won't turn too much. I think this is turning out really cute. It's going to be super au naturel and super, I mean, this is probably one of the most individual pieces I've ever done. I mean, this one is its own creation by far. So I'm really enjoying that it looks nothing like the others that I've done. And honestly, this person that I'm making it for is like no one I've ever met. So that makes perfect sense to me. Oscar, you're snoring, honey. You're snoring bad, Bubba. So the fact that this is a one-of-a-kind and very much the person I think it's being made for is very much a one-of-a-kind makes me very happy. So I think we're on the right track with this right now. And this little stuff where I'm just gluing and pinning and making, this is what takes hours. This is just where I spend a lot of my time. And sometimes I'll put stuff on and I'll take it back off because I don't think it looked as good as I thought it did. And I have to use a lot of glue in some instances, so then I spend half a day trying to take excess glue back off. It can just be trying sometimes, but I enjoy making these for people, so it's what I do. Did y'all have any storm damage, Daniel, from that storm that come through? Oh, I'm a Gemini too. Actually, Ryan and I have the same birthday, May 24th, which is hilarious if you ask me. Did y'all have any storm damage from that storm that come through? Oh my gosh, it was so bad here. And I saw that it hit your area and bounced on up the hill, and I actually kind of gave you a thought there for a minute. It was like, I hope he's okay. We had so much storm damage, and literally just like a quarter mile up the road, there was so much storm damage. It was just pathetic. It was bad. Oh, Denise, thank you for hanging on and doing all that. I always forget to talk about that because I get wrapped up in everything else going on. Now, this is a very unique one. Are you going to be coming up the hill for the 127 selling anything, Daniel? I know most of the people that live here, like, we hate it, but some people still get out and shop in it, so I thought I'd ask. If you happen to be up this way, Daniel, during the 127 sale, you need to message me on Instagram or message me or comment somewhere on a video and let me know. Because David is going to be set up at a very easy to find location. And I may be with him in the early mornings and the evenings, just depending on the heat and my health. But my hope is to be with him in the mornings and the evenings. So, and I'm going to have a lot of new stuff. I don't like to get out in it either, but since my husband has been using it to sell stuff, we've had to be out in it. I used to get the kids some school clothes and stuff when people would sell. I'd go to the ritzy neighborhoods and buy my kids school clothes. So, see, I told you those would go on there somewhere. I'm telling you, I'm just tickled so far. Like it is, that's going to go on up like that. But I don't know, I may clip it or I may make another dangle for a gemstone. Oh, let's make another dangle for a gemstone. Let's use that in an odd way. Let's use that in an odd way to brace a gemstone or two. But if you happen to come up the hill, yell at me. Because we will absolutely be out and about. Well, I say we. David will. He will absolutely be out and about. And if I know that you're going to be up here and what time and stuff, I can make sure to be out and about at that time as well. So he's going to have quite a bit set up and out on display. It's going to be a big, probably the most stuff that he's ever displayed in one place. So, not sure how this is going to work out. Okay, if it changes, yell at me. I know that there's some stuff, I know that there's supposed to be some stuff happening down, like on the square in Livingston next year. And, if there is ever anything like this happening in Byrdstown or around through there, please let me know, because my husband would totally want to go. He likes to stay closer to home if possible to sell this stuff. So if something ever pops up like that and you don't think I know about it, please tell me about it so that we can get down there. I haven't been, last time I was down there, it was to go to Scott Beatty Stables and return a chain rack or a saddle or something. That's been many moons ago. Haven't been down there since, and I need to visit. I haven't been mobile in so long. I always go down Angel Mountain, Squirrel Flat Road. I always take that road and go down. So whoever I take with me, I almost always make sick. It's kind of sad, but I end up making the people I take with me sick. And they're like, they never ever want to travel with me again. And I'm like, okay. So I added some stones to that. And I think what I may do is do another feather here and another feather here. It's just kind of calling my name. I like the stones in that little, it just made a nice little hammock for stones. And I wanted those stones on here for what they are going to do for the lady. So I've got a fan blowing this way on me, so that's why it's going this way. And then I'm going to wrap and make this a multi-layered hoop at the top as well. And then I'm going to be doing some leather accents and a little bit more pizzazz. So pizzazz is on the way. But I think for tonight, I'm probably going to let it rest for tonight. And I will make the other feathers and stuff tomorrow. But this one has got like, it's going to be thicker made. It's going to have more gemstones and stuff on it because of the potency that I want this Dreamcatcher to have. It's really strange. It's got to be potent. And I know a lot of people may not understand that. But this is a phenomenal lady that has had a lot of experiences in her life. And some that haven't always been positive. And so I am really dedicated to making her a very gem-laden, positive Dreamcatcher, so that if it's going to do anything, it's you know, I'm gonna try to get it in there to be the biggest help to her and for what she's going through possible. So this is probably going to be one that you put together. You're going to say that's one of Elizabeth's. But yeah, I make them for the people and what they need. So that's what I've got to do. I'm making it for the people. You too. You have a good night too, Daniel. I'll be thinking about you. Don't be a stranger. You worry me when you don't come around here so often. So that's about all I'm going to do. I might lace up a few more feathers. I might lace up a few more dangle feathers and put on there, and that'll be about it for the night. And then I'm going to go to bed because I've been trying to get to bed earlier so that my body can sleep more. So that I can get up with David and do more because he's working such hours. I mean, his hours right now suck. So I don't get to see David a lot. So I've been trying to go to sleep early so I can get up early so I can see more of him before he goes to work. And tomorrow's his only day off, so I want to spend every moment I can with him because it's the only day I get him home. So I'm going to be trying to get up early and spend some time with him. I'm going to try to be getting some more sunlight tomorrow. I'm now healthy enough where my doctor's like, okay, get back out in the sun. So I'm going to be trying to get in the sun, maybe get in the pool a time or two, get in when it's cooler in the morning and then cooler in the evening. I cannot do the hot day temperatures yet, not with everything my body has been through. So I'm going to try to do that. And I know he's going to try to get a few things, just smaller things ready. He's really got to rest because it's his one day off this whole week. We are begging them to give him next weekend, to give him the weekend off because the man's going to snap. It's going to happen. He can only do so much. So we're begging for him to get next weekend off. So we'll just have to wait and see if the powers that be are listening to their employees. And we're really hoping he can get that weekend off because we've got a lot we've got to do to get ready. And he has worked, out of the last 3 weeks, he's worked all but 3 days. So 21, he's worked 18 or 19 out of 21 days because he got called in that one day to fix a machine. So I really am hoping that he gets some time off and so that I can actually remember who I'm married to. And if y'all want to know what I did when I was sick, I legit watched every Harry Potter movie made. That was what I did when I was sick. So anybody that wants to think me a horrible person, that's what I did when I was sick. I watched every Harry Potter movie ever made. And I just laid there lethargically wanting to feel better. And I watched Harry Potter. And then I found a new channel. Oh, I'll tell you about this. I found a new channel on YouTube. It is called Back to Basics. And they also have a secondary channel called The Castaways. They are from Australia. And they legit just go over the entire ocean in their little boat. They live off their boat, and they live off the fish they catch, and they often maroon themselves in scenarios to show you all how they would survive, and they survived for like 70-something days one time. I was like mad impressed. Of course, I know that most people probably watch the channel because Fran, the lady, is phenomenally beautiful. There's just no denying it. Fran's a hottie. But they also are valid outdoorsmen. And I have been really, really enamored with just how well they maneuver as younger people out in the big world. You know, we don't have a lot of younger people that have these skills anymore. So to see these two younger, very capable people out there, I'm like, heck yes. So it's been very fun to watch them. So I would recommend checking them out. When I get to feeling better and I need to clean my house, I'll obviously go watch Gypsy XO. Gypsy XO is fixing to have her second child, a little boy, and I've been enjoying that with her. And when I can't get my cleaning enthusiasm up, I watch her for a few minutes, and then I'll jump up and do a 15 to 20 minute, whatever my body will let me do, little cleaning routine, and I feel much more accomplished. And she's terribly sweet. She responds literally, I think, to every comment that is put on her videos. She's from Louisville, Kentucky. She's such a sweetie pie. And she is one of the, I'll butcher the name. Starts with an R. She's one of those gypsies that used to be on. She did the Big Fat Gypsy Wedding Show back when she was a teenager. She's very down to earth, though. She's very sweet. And I really enjoy her channel. She keeps a very tidy house, and I am put to shame by her. But it gives me the inspiration to try. And then during my sick spell, I found another channel called The Awkward Mom. I adore this woman because she's just blatantly truthful. Will show you her dirty laundry, her dirty toilet, and she won't deny but it's a struggle to clean that house. And I'm like, you go, tell that truth. She's also got a very good sense of humor, and that made me laugh on days I certainly did not feel like laughing. She made me laugh, so I have subscribed to her, and I've been watching her. So Gypsy XO, The Awkward Mom, and Back to Basics or The Castaways. Those are my new channel recommendations. I know sometimes y'all ask me what I watch. That would be what I would recommend right now. They literally, on the days that I was like, I'm going to have to go to the hospital, I'm going to have to go get, I'm just going to have to go get put in, I'm not going to get over this, I would watch their videos and calm down and start to feel better and be like, no, I can make it, I can do this, I can get through this. And I got through it, but it literally took a whole lot of distraction on my part, and all the Harry Potter movies, and all these great new channels that I found. I found a couple more, but I can't remember the names right off the bat. I know that one lady does Goodwill shopping, and her name is Hanukkah Rose, and she's got a channel where she goes and she just Goodwill shops just for herself, not to resell, and then she shows you how she styles it in her home, and she's just very sweet. She's got a little dog named Peanut that's in every video, and I enjoy her videos. She's very soft-spoken, so if you're trying to drift off to sleep, she's very soft-spoken. She's got a very sweet voice, and it's very, very much ASMR. And I fall asleep to Hanukkah Rose all the time. She's just got the best vibe to go to sleep to. Just such a calming voice and personality. I mean, she's just great. So I spent a lot of time on those channels lately. And I spent a lot of time on the How to Hunt channel with Steve Isdale, listening to those stories as well. Some people may not like that because it's kind of scary sometimes. I watched the last season of Alone. That was fun. Yeah, I did. I mean, I couldn't do a lot, so I was basically just trying to keep my brain from going into the, oh my god, you're so sick, you need to be in the hospital spiel. I just had to keep my body going. So that's what I did to keep my body going. So those are my recommendations for new channels if y'all want to check them out, if you don't already. And we will try to do a proof of life for David tomorrow as long as I'm healthy enough to do so, which today has been a great day. I've improved a lot, so I hope tomorrow's a good day. And we'll do a proof of life, a check-in, and he can show you the new skulls. He's trying a different way of cleaning skulls that I came up with. So we'll see if it works. I actually have it working on the back deck right now as we speak. We'll see how that goes, and we'll see if it was a fail or a win. But y'all, this is speeding right through. The 127 will be here just like so quickly, and then after that we've got to get the baby stuff home and shuffled through and sorted, and then after that the baby will be here, and it's just like the year is boom 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 going. So it's been a doozy. But it's been, it's been primarily a good one. I've made a lot of really new, important friends in my world this year, and I'm really happy about that. So that's a good thing. I'm going to hang these feathers, and then I'm going to put some more water in the fridge to get cold for David when he comes in. And then I'm going to handle Oscar and his night meds and get ready for bed, because I'm hoping that I get to have a good Sunday with my husband. So everybody have a blessed Sunday. We will see you tomorrow evening, probably around 8:30 again. It's better for us to do it when it cools down. It just works out better, and it gives you all more time to do whatever you want to do with your families before you might check in with us. And I don't know, I need to try to find like funny questions for David to answer tomorrow for everybody. Something to put him on the spot, to make him show a side of himself that he's not shown before. So we'll try to do that. But I really appreciate y'all crafting with me this evening and going through the process with me. This is one of the most ornate dream catchers that I've ever made, and I've filled the vibe that it needs to be for this person. So I'm really excited to see what it ends up looking like, and we're about 60%, 70% of the way there. So tomorrow will be spent weaving more willow into the frame and doing a little bit more leather accents, and then I'll show you pictures of the finished product when I get it done. And that's about it for tonight. So I hope I look even better tomorrow and have more color. We'll see. But I'm going to hit the hay, and I hope y'all have a wonderful and blessed night. And I'll see you tomorrow.